Turning now to the mysterious death of a Mississippi teen. The body of Nolan Xavier Wells was recovered on Monday, days after he vanished during a boat trip with his friends to an island off of Mississippi. It's part of a national seashore known for its beaches. The 18-year-old's family is now searching for answers. CBS News
An
correspondent.
18-year-old boy goes to Party Island for the 4th of July. He never comes home. 2 days later, a park ranger finds his body in the water. That alone would be a tragedy. But then comes the detail that turned this into a national story. When his family finally got his phone back, the text messages were gone, deleted. His name was Nolan Xavier Wells, a college football player, a beloved son, teammate, and friend, according to a statement his family's attorney released to the press. Nolan went to Horn Island, Mississippi, with a group of friends to celebrate the holiday. He was last seen around 3 in the afternoon. His friends came back that afternoon. Nolan didn't. Since then, his family has hired nationally known civil rights attorney Ben Crump. They've demanded an independent autopsy, and they've raised a question that's still unanswered. Why were there deleted messages on Nolan's phone, and who deleted them? Before we go any further, this needs to be said clearly. No one has been charged with a crime in this case. Investigators say they currently have no evidence of foul play. Everything you're about to hear is drawn from official statements and verified reporting, not speculation. If this story grips you the way it's gripped a lot of people online, hit subscribe, because this case is still developing in real time. This is the story of Nolan Wells and the deleted messages no one can yet explain.
What was going on with his cell phone?
Yeah, and that's something that's really troubling to his family as well. The guys on the boat, they said Nolan stayed, but they took his cell phone? That's not adding up to them.
Before this became a national headline, Nolan Wells was just a kid from Ocean Springs, Mississippi, with his whole life ahead of him. He graduated from Ocean Springs High School, where he played multiple sports and was, according to his football coach, exactly the kind of player every coach hopes to have. His high school coach said Nolan carried himself with humility, treated others with respect, worked hard, and led by example. Nolan went on to play wide receiver for Southwest Mississippi Community College. His college president called him a well-respected young man who was very popular among friends, faculty, and staff. His high school principal remembered him as a leader in the classroom, not just on the field, an extremely kind and hard-working young man who left a lasting impression. According to his attorney, Nolan was training for something big. He'd reportedly had a serious workout session just days before the trip, preparing for a tryout at the Division I level. His father described him as an elite athlete, someone who notably could swim well. That detail matters because it's part of why his family has struggled to accept the early theory that he simply drowned by accident. His mother, Christine Wonsley, posted on social media the night he vanished, pleading for help finding her son. When his body was recovered days later, she wrote that she was absolutely devastated, describing Nolan as a special soul who was always willing to cheer and uplift others. That's who Nolan Wells was. Not a headline, not a mystery, but a son, a teammate, and a friend who went out to celebrate a holiday and never made it home. Let's walk through what we actually know happened on July 4th. Nolan and a group of friends took a private boat from a dock near Ocean Springs out to Horn Island, a remote, undeveloped barrier island that's part of the Gulf Islands National Seashore. It's only reachable by boat. No facilities, no drinking water, no staff, just sand, water, and whoever else happens to be out there for the holiday. According to statements from friends and from attorney Ben Crump, Nolan was last seen around 3 in the afternoon, reportedly talking with a young woman on the island. What happened immediately after that conversation is where the accounts start to diverge, but we'll get into that shortly. At some point that afternoon, Nolan's friends got back on the boat to head home. Nolan did not go with them. One friend's mother later wrote on social media that the boat had engine trouble, something wrong with the bilge pump, which helps clear water from the bottom of the boat, and that the group left around 4:30 in the afternoon, believing Nolan had decided to stay behind and return later with another group. He never did. That night, his mother reported him missing. By early evening, the Jackson County Sheriff's Office had set up a command post, and a massive search operation was underway. The Gulf Islands National Seashore, the National Park Service, the United States Coast Guard, the Mississippi Department of Marine Resources, the Mississippi Department of Wildlife, Fisheries and Parks, the Biloxi Fire Department, and a volunteer group called the United Cajun Navy, which sent boats and aircraft to help scan the island and surrounding water. The search continued through the weekend and into Monday morning, with boats launching before 8 in the morning and search planes in the air before 6 in the morning. Then Monday, a National Park Service ranger found a body in the water just off the island's northwestern tip. On Tuesday, the Jackson County coroner confirmed through dental records what everyone had feared. It was Nolan. An autopsy was performed that same day by the state medical examiner. But officials said it could take weeks for full results, including toxicology, to come back. Quick pause here. If you're finding this story as compelling as we are, drop a like on this video. It genuinely helps get cases like Nolan's the attention they deserve. Now let's get into the part of this story that's raised the most questions. Here's where we need to be very careful, because this is the part of the story that's still genuinely unresolved. As of right now, no one, not a friend, not anyone else on that island, has been named a suspect or charged with any crime in Nolan's death. The Jackson County Sheriff has said publicly that there's currently no evidence a crime occurred. So what we're about to describe are questions being raised by the family and their attorney, not accusations backed by an arrest. The first question centers on Nolan's final hour on the island. Multiple friends have said Nolan chose to stay behind, that he told them he wanted to remain with the young woman he'd been talking to. But according to Crump, that woman gave a different account. She reportedly said that once their conversation ended, Nolan told her he was heading back to the boat. That's a direct contradiction. Either Nolan planned to leave the island or he planned to stay. Both can't be true, and right now, nobody's been able to explain why the two accounts don't match. One friend's mother, a local judge, spoke out publicly to defend her son, who was on the trip. She said her son told investigators he last saw Nolan around 3 in the afternoon, and that the group left the island around 4:30 because of boat trouble, believing Nolan intended to come back later with someone else. She's pushed back on online speculation targeting the teens who were there, saying the focus should stay on supporting the Wells family, not piling onto the kids who were present that day. Then there's the phone. According to Crump, Nolan's friends took his cell phone with them when they left the island. Think about that for a second. If you were planning to stay behind on a remote island, would you leave your phone with somebody else? Crump has called that detail very implausible, arguing it doesn't fit with the story that Nolan chose on his own to stay. When the phone was eventually returned to the Wells family, they discovered messages had been deleted, not lost, not corrupted, deleted. Nobody has said, on the record, who deleted them or when. It's possible the deletions happened before Nolan ever went missing. People delete texts all the time for reasons that have nothing to do with a crime. It's also possible they happened after. As of this recording, that timeline has not been established publicly, and no forensic results confirming who accessed the phone have been released. There's one more piece to this. A video has been circulating online that appears to show some kind of argument or altercation on the beach that day. Crump has described it as Nolan and somebody yelling at one another. It's unclear if the person in that video is connected to Nolan's disappearance at all, or if the footage is even from the right part of the island. Investigators have publicly asked anyone with photos, video, or eyewitness accounts from Horn Island that day to come forward. So to be clear, there is no confirmed motive here because there is no confirmed crime. What exists are unanswered questions. A deleted phone, 2 conflicting stories about Nolan's last conversation, and a video investigators are still trying to place. Whether any of it connects to how Nolan died is something only a completed investigation can answer. Here's the twist that's kept this case in headlines all week. The official position from law enforcement and the position of the family are, right now, pulling in 2 very different directions. The sheriff has said plainly that there's no information right now that would lead investigators to believe a crime has occurred. Investigators reportedly suspect Nolan may have drowned. The sheriff's office says there's currently no indication of drug or alcohol use, though the coroner's office says a full picture will depend on the toxicology report, which is still pending, but the family isn't accepting that explanation, at least not yet. And here's why. According to Crump, Nolan's father described his son as an elite athlete and a strong swimmer. For a family that knows exactly how capable their son was in the water, the idea that he simply drowned doesn't fully add up, especially layered on top of a deleted phone and conflicting witness statements. So the family took a significant step. They arranged for an independent autopsy, separate from the state's official exam, flying Nolan's body to Washington, D.C., for a second medical examiner to review the case. Crump said they expected results from that independent exam within days. Crump has also pointed to something else that's fueled public attention: the racial dynamic of the group on the island. Nolan is black. Several of the friends he was with are white. Crump has said he wants the investigation treated with the same urgency it would get if the situation were reversed. A comment aimed at pushing investigators toward full transparency, not an accusation against any specific person. Meanwhile, several of the friends who were on Horn Island that day have reportedly locked down their social media accounts amid intense online scrutiny, and at least one parent has said she deactivated her own accounts, citing safety concerns for her children given how heated the public reaction has become. Crump has said investigators are speaking with people connected to the case who have no personal stake in the outcome, trying to build a clearer, independent account of what actually happened in Nolan's final hours. As he put it in one interview, the goal right now is investigation, not speculation. If you want to see where this goes next, make sure you're subscribed, because we'll be tracking every update as it comes in. So where does the Nolan Wells case actually stand right now officially? The Jackson County Sheriff's Office considers this an active and ongoing investigation. No charges have been filed. No one has been arrested. Investigators say they've found no evidence of foul play so far, but they've also asked the public to keep sending in any photos, videos, or eyewitness accounts from Horn Island on July 4th, including anything showing unusual activity or altercations. The state's official autopsy has been completed, but full results, including the toxicology report, are still pending and could take a couple of weeks. The family's independent autopsy in Washington, D.C., was expected to produce results within days of being conducted, though as of this recording, those results have not been publicly released either. Attorney Ben Crump and his legal team have said they'll conduct their own independent review of the circumstances surrounding Nolan's death, and they're pushing for the timely release of every record, every witness statement, and every autopsy finding. Not just a summary, the full picture. It bears repeating. Nobody has been charged with anything in connection with Nolan's death. The deleted messages, the conflicting accounts, and the video of an alleged altercation are all unresolved threads in an active investigation, not proof of a crime. It's entirely possible this ends up being ruled an accidental drowning, with the deleted texts turning out to be unrelated. It's also possible the investigation turns up something else entirely. Right now, nobody outside the investigation actually knows. What we do know is how the community has responded. A fundraiser set up for the Wells family had raised more than $237,000 within days. Nolan's high school and college both issued statements mourning his loss and offering counseling support to grieving teammates. His grandfather publicly questioned how an island search the day before could produce his grandson's body the next morning, a question that captures just how much confusion and grief this family is sitting with. For the Wells family, this isn't really about winning an argument online. It's about getting real answers. Who had Nolan's phone when those messages were deleted? Whether they can be recovered? Why the witness accounts don't match? And what the final autopsy and toxicology reports ultimately show. Until those questions are answered, this case isn't closed, not for investigators, and definitely not for the people who loved Nolan most. If law enforcement releases new findings, or if the independent autopsy results come back, we'll be here with the update. Subscribe now so you don't miss it. Nolan Wells was 18 years old, a son, a teammate, a friend people describe over and over as kind, humble, and hardworking. He went out on the 4th of July to celebrate with people he trusted, and he never made it home. Whatever the final answers turn out to be, Nolan deserves to be remembered as more than a mystery. He deserves to be remembered as who he actually was. Rest easy, Nolan. You are not forgotten. Before you go, I want to hear from you. Do you think those deleted messages are connected to what happened to Nolan, or is there an innocent explanation? And do you believe this investigation is being handled with the transparency this family deserves? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, like this video if you want to see us keep following this case, and subscribe so you're here for the next update.